like you and I. That's the game we have to play. We have to win.
Everyone, welcome. Today we have Ines Laimins on the podcast. I'm very, very excited about having her on. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Warren, thanks so much for reaching out. I'm great. Yeah. And the restrictions are being lifted on Thursday. So gyms and hairdressers open again. So that's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
People can go and get a haircut and get back into shape. That's great.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the gyms and all that. Yeah. So here, you know how warm it is. People do their exercises outside. So
for those that don't know, Ines is a supremely talented individual. She's an actress. She is a photographer. She takes headshot pictures for actors and actresses. And you're also a coach as well, as Zoom coach.
Yeah, I've been actually creating more content and helping people create more content to post online.
Okay.
Corporates, people in business.
Yeah.
And creating 30-second videos so that they can still stay active on LinkedIn. Not everyone feels confident in front of the camera. So I'm coaching people how to speak and elocute better in front of the camera. So, and that's all we're doing on Zoom these days.
I know, right? Living online, it's a strange world at the moment. But
yeah, I like to say my byline is for people not used to this kind of medium. Everyone has to become a TV presenter in their own right.
Right.
Like just being able to command a space. That basically you've just got one tiny little camera on you. And anyone in television presentation knows exactly how to do that.
Welcome to my industry talks. What I hope to do in these is to share ideas or things that at least I've experienced in trying to realize the benefits of digital disruption and innovation, and hopefully spark ideas that come from you, spark sharing that come from my industry colleagues, whether they be in Asia or globally, so that collectively we can advance our industry, and in so doing, advance the cause of our customers.
And then of course, teleprompter reading is a whole nother thing, but I'm not getting involved with that because it's mostly helping people be compelling online, and being able to communicate just to a small camera.
Yeah, I mean, you literally have to at the moment, don't you? It's everything is, as you said, online, and acting work is online, castings is online. But even if you're, working in business, and if you're a lawyer, everything is taking place through Zoom calls, and it's a strange world at the moment. But
as a fellow actor, that taping ourselves for castings has been around for a couple of years already.
Right.
So it's the same type of thing where you have to present yourself basically to a lot of people, but put that on tape.
Absolutely.
So.
Yes, you got to think about your lighting and where you're sitting and how you're looking into the camera, and it's bizarre. But anyway,
so I'm sitting in my studio right now.
Yes,
studio.
I can see. Yeah,
you can see the lights behind me. Yeah.
Ines is a phenomenal photographer, and that is actually how we met. I came to see you to get some acting headshots done, and I can honestly say that it was the most enjoyable experience I've had getting pictures done. I've had a fair few headshots over the years. I mean, I've been acting since I was a teenager, and I've always tried to have fairly regular photos because there's nothing worse than a picture that's, 8 years old or whatever. You've got to try and keep current and relevant, and also have a realistic portrayal of how you actually look. And it was just such an enjoyable experience. You made me feel very comfortable, very relaxed. And I feel as a result of that, we got some really, really nice pictures taken. And
working with actors is much easier because you're used to being in front of the camera. And again, I also do corporates and people who, they're as scared to come for their photo as they are to go to the dentist kind of thing, and you get that wide-eyed kind of, oh, I'm so nervous. But hopefully in 5 minutes, I can put everyone at ease.
Yeah.
And I coach and guide people, where to their angles and expressions. So yeah,
No, you do.
that's
Yeah,
exactly how we met.
It is exactly how we met. And it was almost like you're sort of, because some photographers, they'll just say, right, stand here, smile, take the picture, and then we move on. But I feel like you were completely invested in what we were doing. And you, as you said, you were guiding, you were giving some direction, you were talking about emotions, you were painting a scene. And for a performer, that it just makes it so much easier to do. And I can only imagine that those that aren't in the industry would really appreciate that guidance and feedback as well, because it makes it so much easier. Good. So how long have you been doing photography for? How long have you been taking headshots for?
I started about 8 years ago in a very small studio right next to the center in kind of at the edge of Central. And it was a fourth floor walk up. And you know how hot that is in the summer. And I had to drag equipment up and down if I had a location shoot. So about 4.5 years ago, I moved to the Shengwan space where I am now.
Yep.
And I shared with a makeup artist. And so it's just a commercial building. So a lot easier to, have people come and also drag my equipment around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you met here in Shengwan.
It was
right?
in Shengwan. Yeah. I remember you spoke about the makeup artist that you were sharing with at the time.
And I started 8 years ago. I took a course. I've always been interested in photography, but I took a course with Peter Hurley, and he's a New York City headshot photographer, and he has a very defined style. It's a white background, kind of, make people seem like they're celebrities before they are, this kind of, confidence in the eyes, approachability in the mouth, so sort of a strength in the eye with a bit of a smile, that gives an expression that is, less deer caught in the headlights. So I was trying to find someone who could do actor headshots in Hong Kong, and I couldn't. And so I thought, well, maybe this will be my niche. And so, but it's the same lighting that I use, whether I have families here or corporate. It's just a very flat, shadowless lighting. And of course, I can also do portraits, which is just shifting up the lighting a bit. And modeling, there's different, in a session, I don't know how many actors you have on here watching, but there are different types of looks, so you can have a commercial look, you can have the typical actor's look, the headshot that you hand into an agent. You can also do something like a Gap ad, which is veers on the commercial. And then for women, I also do like a glam type of look. And then of course, business, because there's a lot of commercial work in Hong Kong to do, business roles.
Wow.
So those are the looks that I kind of create within one session.
And you mentioned something there about making people feel important and having that sort of celebrity feel when you step into the space. And I remember that. I remember that feeling. Actually, I felt very good about myself before we'd even done anything, and it was very subtle the way you did it. I didn't feel like you were it was ingenuine. It came across very, very natural and very genuine. And yeah, I felt lifted, because I'm not sure I was having the best of days actually when I first got there. I was like, I had a bit of a ropey morning. I was feeling a bit like a bit heavy, and that's the sort of the worst thing that you can have when you are trying to make yourself look good and appealing to other people. And but within a few minutes, I felt much better and super comfortable, and it was great. How do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy photography?
I love it.
Yeah,
it's the same, being in front of the camera and behind the camera, I think, is what I understand both sides, because I have been in front of the camera, whether it's still photography or filming or TV series. So, there's an awareness that it's there, but you almost have to be as if it's not there. In stage, we say the fourth wall, the audience is there, but you never go beyond it. You communicate through that wall, but you're not stepping through it. And, so it's a little bit like that, like the camera is invisible.
Do you have a preference, photography over having pictures taken of yourself, or which one do you prefer? My primary thing that I do is as an actor. In TV drama and film in China. And in 2020, I couldn't go. My last time in China was a year and 4 months ago. Okay.
And I'm counting how many months. And I've already missed so many opportunities in 2020 because the film industry is buzzing in China. And I've built enough connections within the different productions that I've been in that productions are the first AD or producer are contacting me to come up and do roles, and I can't get a visa to go. So it's been a little frustrating.
So they're actually stopping people from coming in if they don't have an ongoing visa, a multiple visit visa of some description. Is that how it's working, or?
No tourists are allowed. So even if you have a 10-year tourist visa, you can't go, just like you can't come to Hong Kong if you're a tourist.
Wow.
And then in the past, I've gotten 3-month talent visas for work. So a work visa, but they're not issuing those either. So it's been a bit frustrating. And that's why I've had to pivot and figure out what else I can do with my acting talent. And I thought that I could start coaching people about their Zoom presence, or even pitching big projects, because that's all happening online as well.
What is so great about RH Lighting is the choice of product, the availability and quantity of finishes. It makes the selection and specification process so straightforward, accurate and efficient. Betsy came to the studio recently to assist the design team and to help us with RH lighting specifications for one of our upcoming projects. The technical support RH provides really supports the designers. Our clients love the product, we love the product, and it looks fantastic installed.
Pitching to clients, so it's a different interaction.
Completely different. But wow, okay.
So which do I prefer? My goal is to be an actor who travels around the world working on whether it's TV or film and any location. So that's what I really want to do.
Hopefully that changes soon, and hopefully you can get back over to China. Ines actually speaks fluent Mandarin, which is super cool. And how was that? Because I mean, how did that happen? How did you make that decision that you wanted to learn Mandarin, and what were the challenges that you faced actually grasping that language? Because it seems to me incredibly complicated, but I'm sure if you invest the time in it, it's obviously you've proved that it's possible to do it. But how was that experience of actually learning?
I've been in Asia over 25 years.
Okay.
And I lived in India and Taiwan as well as Hong Kong. When I was in Taiwan, that's when I realized that the Chinese language is quite a massive, important language. And when was that? Probably 90, about 2000, 20 years ago, I lived in Taiwan. And people spoke English, but not like in Hong Kong. So I thought, okay, this is it. Here I go. I'm going to learn the language. And at the same time, I was a docent at the big museum there. And I had to do a 6-month course with the museum to learn Chinese history and cultural arts in order to even become a tour guide. And it all came together, and I just fell in love with Chinese culture, language, history. And I learned that it's a much deeper culture than I ever thought. And then I moved back to Hong Kong, and I continued at Hong Kong U. I did an intensive course, 3 hours a day, 5 times a week.
Wow, amazing.
But I wanted to learn how to read. So I did. I passed HSK 4, level 4 out of 6. So that's where I am.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible. That is incredible. And do you speak any Cantonese as well? Little bit.
識講少少廣東話.
Oh, there we
Just
go.
enough
There we go.
just enough for taxis and restaurants.
Yeah. And do you continue to practice your Mandarin while you are here in Hong Kong, or?
Yes. So I have a teacher over at Practical Mandarin, and I do one-on-one sessions twice a month. And so last year was meant to be very busy for me in China. In March 2020, I had a CCTV interview lined up.
Okay.
To go up to Beijing, appear on the television, and discuss how I have achieved my dreams in China. Of course, that was postponed and then canceled. And then, there's no travel to China anymore. But at that time, I put together some stories that I could share about my parallel experience with China. My first time in China was in '89. So that's a long time ago. And from then till now, the advance that's happened there has been just so amazing. And I feel like I've been there to witness it. And not only to witness the advanced changes, but also to work in TV and film in China. I mean, it's incredible.
It is awesome.
I just feel so fortunate. It's like I'm an anomaly or something,
Can you talk to us a little bit about that, about your experiences on film sets and TV, and what is it like? How does it differ to Hong Kong? Does it differ because you're from the US as well, which we'll talk, or you grew up in the US, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But how did your Chinese film experience differ from other places?
See if it can help you out. You'll be.
没门儿，
没门儿，
没门儿。
我好棒啊。
OK。
Well, first of all, there's no union.
Right.
So people work 12 hours to 16 hours a day on, and when I see the team working that hard, I'm also willing to work that hard. So it can be exhausting.
Yeah.
The conditions can be either so freezing cold or so hot that, there's no green room, there's no trailer that you go into. For someone who's used to working in the West, there, are breaks for breakfast, lunch, dinner. There's somewhere comfortable to go sit. But there, it's, you're out there in the middle of the hottest day on earth wearing wool garments, doing my History Channel. And I almost fainted from just being that hot. And, by the 14th hour, it's like, this is just impossible. So I think that's the biggest difference is food, conditions, and
Yeah.
hours
Yeah.
are extreme. But I'm an adventurer and I love going on a journey. And so
Yeah.
it's just an experience that that you just really start liking, and the feeling of being part of a family and a team. So
Wow.
that's the main difference. And and the crew works so hard.
Yeah.
On a TV show, you know, there's a 3 to 4 camera setup. So basically you have 1 take, maybe 2 per scene.
Okay.
Okay. So you've got to be ready.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah.
Because 3 to 4 of these cameras are all on different angles. So I've learned a lot from some of the older actors in China, how to manage around that, especially if you have to move in the space. You know, you have to avoid crossing camera lines. They block everything out.
Yeah.
So you don't just kind of go in and see how it goes. It's very specifically blocked out. So they already tell you, you go here to do this, and then you go here. And then we run through it once, a rehearsal. So the camera guys know what's going to happen. And then you just do it.
Nice.
Yeah. So basically it's a blocking, a rehearsal, and then do the scene.
Wow.
And then maybe you have a second take.
You might be lucky to get a second take.
Because they work so fast. But mind you, a TV series is a 35 to 40 episode drama.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a lot of, you know, like Netflix is 8 to 12 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So imagine
That is
35 to 40 episodes.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've never done a TV show in the US, so I don't know what camera setup they have, but I'm assuming 2 to 3 cameras.
Yeah. Was that the same one, because you worked on Flying Tiger, the Flying Tiger productions, right? So was that a similar deal with that as well?
So that was in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Filmed in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And I think the Hong Kong industry is a little more sophisticated.
Okay.
The conditions were better. The industry's just been around here a lot longer, and there were 2 very experienced directors, and they knew exactly what was needed. And I got to work with Lee Pace.
You know, you remind me of my son. Brave and decisive. I know what my odds are. I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
Who was flown in from LA. So we played spies together.
That's cool.
Agents.
Amazing.
And the story I can tell about that one is he was very surprised that we were on the streets, run and gun kind of thing. It's with the TVB crew, right?
Right.
And my character was to be killed on the steps in Shengwan. And his character had to walk across. And he looked at everyone and said, okay, are we not stopping traffic? Are we not? Like, and then it just happened.
You just go.
You just go.
Dance with the cars.
Yeah. And anyone who's walking by happens to become an extra, and you know, without knowing it.
Amazing.
So that was pretty funny, where, you know, the whole blood and everything was put. I'm just standing on the street, and then we look across the way. He sees me getting killed. He walks across, and that was the end of my character on that show.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I was involved in one of those productions. I believe it was the first one, actually, playing a policeman, and we had a huge shootout scene, and I was working with Barry O'Rourke, which you may be familiar with him. So he was the general, and I was his junior, and we were out in search of the bad guys, and it all went drastically wrong, and there were bullets flying everywhere, and it was actually my first experience using, you know, like a proper gun. Obviously, it had blanks in it, but I was very quickly trained on the job just before the scene in how to use the gun and how to react to the shots, and we were wearing all sorts of under gear, and it was cool. It was a lot of fun. But I remember that the gunshots were so loud. It was, you fire one of those and my ears were ringing for hours afterwards.
Yeah.
And I was like, kind of looking around, I was like, is no one wearing earplugs? Like, and no one seemed, and I was like, dude, can we have some earplugs? And they were like, oh, I'm not sure about that. But I just remember my ears were just like, it was so loud. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you miss it? Are you doing any acting work?
I'm doing quite a lot of voiceover stuff still, partly with Hong Kong, but also here in Sweden, in Gothenburg. So I'm doing a fair bit of that. And I mean the acting scene is kind of, with Corona and everything, there's just not really been a huge amount going on. I mean, there is a really cool theatre here that they do a lot of English theatre. And there are television productions going on. So I'm looking, similarly to yourself, I need to sort of grasp the language of that particular nation. And then I think if I can speak Swedish fluently or to a high standard, that would help me a lot. And we'll see. Yeah, I might be in a few Scandinavian dramas in the future.
Great.
Yeah.
So my parents are from Latvia, which is right across from where you are.
It is.
Yeah. So I'm Latvian,
and you speak Latvian, right?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Wow.
It was my first language. So I'm first generation American, which makes me just American by birth. But my parents are European and then quarter Russian. So I feel like I'm much closer to where my grandmother is from, which is Irkutsk, Siberia. But I haven't been there yet. Yeah. Yeah.
And
so it's very close to you.
You speak Russian as well?
No, I don't. Just Latvian,
quite
tiny language. Yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Obscure languages.
Well, I mean, it's similarly to Swedish, I suppose. Like, it's very useful if you live in Sweden, but outside of that, not so much. Whereas Mandarin, of course, that's it's a very useful language to know.
Language.
Yeah. Good. So you grew up you said you are first generation American, and
yes,
grew up in Chicago. Is that right?
Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago, and I went to Northwestern, which has an incredibly strong theater program. And although my father said that I have to do some very serious studies, all I had to do was ace all my serious subjects, and then I could do my theater on the side. And I fell in very quickly with the theater crowd, because before that I was doing, I wanted to be a ballet dancer. Many of my friends from my professional ballet school during high school went off and became international dancers. But being first generation, there was a lot of pressure from my father to not be a performer. So I knew what I had to do, similar to many Asian families. Education first, then you can be a creative. And so that's pretty much how now later in life, I've just really gone back to what I love.
Which is great.
Which is creative. Everything and anything creative.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you were in Chicago for how long? When did you actually make the move to Hong Kong?
Chicago, I graduated, then I lived and worked in Boston for a while. And then I was just backpacking through Asia with a boyfriend back then. And I landed in Hong Kong and I thought, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, we were doing that backpacking kind of trip. I also was in Burma, and that was my first time in China. Yeah. And went back to New York, after about 2 years, it was like, what a slog. I'm going back to Asia. And so I did. I showed up, found a job, started, and then I never left.
Right. And for those that haven't been to Hong Kong, what was it about Hong Kong that actually drew you there? What was the wow factor? Why did you think, wow, this
it's like New York on the island of Hawaii with an incredibly international vibe. people from all around the world, restaurants and cuisine from all around the world.
Yeah.
And there's an energy here that's similar to New York.
Yeah.
The only thing I really, really missed, and I'm sure you had this too, was live theater.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in New York, you've just got the top of the top there.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to go to
Same in
art
London.
house,
Yeah.
something.
Phenomenal shows in London as well. I've not been to New York, which is still hurts me to the day, but at some point I will get over there when it's possible, for sure.
Yeah, so that was the only thing that was missing as far as you know, the ability to do a lot of art house stuff. But there are pockets of it, and definitely, you know, the local community has a lot of creative. But you know, I didn't speak Cantonese, so I wasn't able to be part of that then.
Yeah, that is a lot of educational theatre, I'd say. You know, a lot of English theatre for schools, for colleges, for universities in that sense. But yeah, it's not quite on the same level as that of what I imagine of New York and certainly London. But
London, yes.
Yeah. Wow. There we go. And do you plan to stay out there for the foreseeable future in Hong Kong and China when you can get back in again? Is this you for life now, or do you feel like there's another avenue you want to explore, or where are you at right now?
Well, I've had such unexpected success in China in the past 3 to 4 years. And then I had to just mentally get over the fact that 2020 was 2020 and I couldn't go and keep on that same roller coaster energy there. So yes, I want to continue my career in China and then possibly, you know, elsewhere in the world.
Yeah.
A lot of the productions in China have been filming outside as well. I did do one show where we spent a month and a half in New York City and then back in Beijing. You know, so it's the idea of combining travel with the acting.
Yeah.
And just doing bigger and bigger productions. I've actually, with my looking inward, I conceptualized and wrote a short film.
Okay, cool.
That we filmed last weekend with a woman who has a small production company, Eva Cohen, and she produced it. We rewrote the script and had 3 local actors in it as well. So the title is Women in Design, about an older Western woman who has to come to Hong Kong to save her business and meets Mrs. Chan. And they, you know, they kind of become friends, and, you know, it's a cross-cultural story.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds nice.
That we want to show in film festivals. Yeah.
I know how
So
do that. How do you plan to get it out into the? Do you have particular film festivals that you want to get it into, or literally just?
Yeah, you submit. There's lots of kind of platforms where you can group submit, and then you can also, you know, submit individually.
Yeah. For other people out there that are doing it or want to make films and create themselves, it's interesting to know how you actually then go about doing that. You know, once you've made the film, how do you get it into those? So you were saying it's pretty straightforward to do, or?
So the biggest problem with making anything is financing. Yeah. Right. So you can have an amazing story for a feature film, but you know, where's the money come from? Yeah. Right. So a lot of people do start making independent films as shorts, and the short film under 15 minutes, maybe let's say hovering around 7 to 12 minutes, and you can also make a feature film, and then you submit those to film festivals, and there's tons all over the world. Like the Beijing International Short Film Festival happens every year. You just have to search online. And I think in the US, there's something called White Box, where you submit to a group of festivals. Okay. All at once. So it's like one submission fee, and then you put your film in there. And then there's the panel of judges who decide whether or not it's going to be in their festival. So it's just, that's more on the production side. to get it out there, figure out who's going to show it, and to get any content on a big screen is just like so amazing.
Cool, yeah.
It's a long journey to get there, but people do it. So I'm looking to perhaps writing more stories and making more stories in Hong Kong.
Nice. I'm sure Hong Kong will be very happy to hear that. That'd be cool.
It's like I'm not a producer, but I need to figure it all out.
It's good. You're creating, and you're, even during 2020, you couldn't do exactly what you wanted to do at the time, but you found a way to overcome that and get around that. And you have a great energy, Ines. You're always driving and pushing, and that's it's a great
trying.
Yeah, no, but it's admirable for sure. Well, there we go. So if you couldn't be a creator, Ines, do you have any hidden skills that we don't know about? If you couldn't do photography, if you couldn't be an actress, is there anything else that you could do?
I have 3 daughters.
Nice.
We're all, is that a hidden skill? I don't know, but I feel
absolutely.
very.
I've got 2 young ones, and it's hard. So you've got 3, so that's definitely a skill.
So for a while there, I was a professional mom.
Yeah.
So while you're a professional mom, you realize you have some hidden skills, such as
Patience.
First aid, doctor, nurse. Coach. Cheerleader. Schedule organizer. I mean, it's a lot to be a mom and a dad.
Life skills as well. They're life skills, right?
Yeah.
Organization, scheduling.
Would it be a hidden skill? I guess I learned that there were things that I didn't realize a parent had to do, and then I'm like, wow, I'm actually really good at this.
Yeah.
So, nice. I don't know. If I couldn't be a creative, what would I do? Well, I used to play the piano, but that's, again, being a creative. I feel like that's one thing that
it's a tough question, isn't it, to ask a creator, like if you couldn't be a creator? But I sometimes get some very unusual responses. It's I
don't know. I'd be a bird.
You'd be a bird?
Yes, I'd go flying all around, traveling all over.
I love that.
Look at the world and what's going on. I don't know. I'm just joking. Maybe a thing I'd like to do is start piano again. I haven't had a piano around for a while, so maybe that.
And do you have any moments in your life that you're particularly proud of? It could have been working in China, learning Mandarin, but it doesn't specifically have to be a work experience. It can be anything life related something when you look back, you're like, I'm so happy that I did that, or I can't believe I did that. I can't believe that happened to me.
It's just overwhelming and all encompassing to raise children and then see that, they're happy, healthy, and thriving in the world.
Yeah.
I would say that's my biggest thing that I've done.
Wow. There we go. Very nice. All right. We're going to jump to a game now, because I'm aware that the time is flying. I'm having such a lovely time talking to you.
Oh my goodness. It is.
So we're going to jump to a little game. Would you rather? And actually, before we do that, if people want to get in touch with you, Ines, if they want to find out more about your work, what you've been up to, where's the best place for people to actually contact you? Do you have a website that they could go to, or
there is
Instagram?
Basically, my name.
Yep.
If you just Google my name, I'm the only one with my name, Ines Laimins.
Okay.
So on Instagram, I'm at ines.laimins.
Yep.
And also I have a page that I started called Zoom Headshots, where I'll just put up my headshot work. And then a website, myname.net.
Yeah.
Another website, myname.com. So ineslaimins.com.
Very good.
.net. And there's a Vimeo channel that people can watch outtakes of things, different shows I've been in. So it's just all under my name.
Awesome. I will post all the links in the description for the podcast, so it'll be nice and easy for them as they read through your biography. There'll be direct links to those things that you mentioned.
Thank you, Warren. You're great.
No worries. All right, so let's jump to this game. Would you rather? I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Don't give it too much thought. Just the first thing that pops into your head. Okay, are you ready to go?
All right. Yes.
Don't be scared. It's okay. It'll be all right.
Okay.
Okay, number 1. Would you rather be the youngest or the eldest sibling?
The oldest, because
Okay.
I am.
You are. Okay.
Out of 3, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. Number 2, would you rather get rich through hard work or through winning the lottery?
Get rich. Gosh, of course, I like the hard work, but as an actor and a creative, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
So gosh, winning the lottery would be pretty amazing because that would give freedom to not have to be all wound up about covering your living expenses.
Yeah.
So
use that money
2020 has been really tough.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Right.
Yeah.
I know it has. I've experienced it.
So I'd say in a very fun, I'd say winning a lottery.
Okay.
Although then I could work hard and really focus on not having to do the overhead kind of stuff,
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. What would you prefer, a noisy neighbor or a nosy neighbor?
Noisy.
Noisy. Okay.
Noisy.
Very good. Very good.
Noise doesn't bother me. It's fun. You can feel that there's people around you. Nosy would be like knocking on the door all the time.
Yeah. What are you up to? What are you doing?
Yeah.
All right. And the last one. Would you rather be 4'5" tall or 7.7 feet tall? It's a random one, but I'm throwing it in there. Yes, you. Would you rather be really short?
4'5"? I'd rather be 4'5".
Okay.
And wear huge shoes like Lady Gaga. I mean, what do you do when you're 7'7" and you're a woman? Oh my God. That'd be tough.
I think probably basketball would be a good way to go.
I think so.
Good. And very, very lastly, Ines, before I let you go, because I know you're a busy lady, we would love to have Ines Laimins' final thoughts for the podcast. So this goes out to our audience that are listening. Something uplifting, an approach to life, dealing with positive and negative change.
Well, I'm older, and I could just say age is a number, and it's never too late to follow your dreams and do what you really want to do. There might be obstacles in the way, but if you know what it is and you put it out to the universe, it will come to you. And every day do one small step towards that goal. Even if it's just reaching out to someone or reading a book that inspires you to write a screenplay, just one thing towards the goal, and don't beat yourself up if it's not coming fast enough.
Oh, I like that. I really like that. So those small little steps, and take your time, be patient, and don't beat yourself up if it doesn't happen straight away. That's really awesome advice. Thank you so much for today, Ines. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great.
Yeah, me too. I can't believe it's flown by.
I know it does.
Already.
It does. I spoke to someone the other day and I said it's going to last about 45 minutes, and she went, "Really? That's a really long time." And then we're like 50 minutes later, and it's strange. I don't know why that is, but anyway.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well,
you've got great questions, so thank you.
Thank you. Your answers are awesome.
Yeah.
Have a lovely evening. It must be about six-ish now there.
It's turning 6. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you have daytime, so have a great day.
I've got the whole day ahead of me. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to do something. I'm going to take a small step towards something, Ines.
Take a small step. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Great talking to you. Bye.
So you're not going to help me anymore?
As a lawyer, the first golden rule is to take care of it outside the court.
So how are you going to do that?
See?
Lindsay, I'll give you one more day. Your deadline is tomorrow. What? You want me to change my mind? You chose is far too difficult for you. I want you to choose something more simple and then come back to me.
That's nice.
I love you so much.
I know.
You know, you remind me of my son. Brave and decisive. I know what my odds are. I know what I'm doing.
Because women like you and I, that's the game we have to play. We have to win.